Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly update, or double weekly update, I guess, now, since we took Christmas off. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, by the way, everyone. Now, let's just go ahead and get down the list here. We've got 2 weeks of updates to go through. So, first off, fixed a bug with door collision. I had to redo the doors at one point, and what happened was the collision kind of was messing up, so some specific kind of doors I was able to actually just run right through, and then some you would open them and you couldn't run through them at all. So I had to fix that issue. Got that working, so all the doors are working correctly now. Fixed a burning death animation, so I have a sprite that'll play when the enemy dies from fire damage, and that was having a weird looping effect. Managed to get that fixed up so the timing is correct on it. It was basically replaying one frame when it shouldn't. So got that sorted out. Then we've got a bunch of tweaks here. So we've tweaked jib blood effects, burning enemy effects, gunshot blood effects, and bullet hole and decal effects. So basically that's mostly just resizing. Some of those are changing them a little bit. I was undersizing a lot of the effects to be a little bit more realistic, but you have to play things up a little bit to be noticeable. So I noticed that things like, especially the bullet holes, were so small that you couldn't even see them from a distance. So I scaled everything up a little bit. I changed some of the blood effects. I'll probably still have to mess with that later, but for now it's all better. So that's nice. Now the big one, fixed a bug with enemy movement. That was a big issue that I really wanted to get sorted out, because one enemy in particular, something in the behavior tree was making it to where they would see the player, they would lock focus on them, and then they would just get stuck and they would do nothing. Even if you would shoot them, if you left the area and then came back, it didn't matter. They were just getting stuck. And that basically wound up being kind of a stupid little thing that took me way longer to notice than it should have, but well, we'll talk about that one when we get there. More sprites and textures done, and fortunately, many of them are going to be able to be used for the first level, and maybe even the second level, but mostly I'm trying to prepare some new textures and new sprites specifically for the third level, which I haven't started level 3 yet, but I'm definitely trying to get ready for it. There's some things that I want to do first before I get started with it, so I might start with it towards the end of this coming week, but we'll see. Made crushers, so got those modeled and coded in, so you can now get squished by things, and enemies can too, and I'm actually really happy with how it looks when an enemy gets squished, so that's nice. Crushers are modular, so I can change the timing for them, and I'll be able to put them in rows if I really want to. I don't really want to get too mean with crushers, but there's one specific use for them that I know I want to use. You just wait for that one, animal. They changed some things with explosive crates and regular crates. Each one needed their own change, but they both essentially are the same now. I originally had explosive crates as just a sprite that would rotate around as you looked at it, so that worked fine for where it was, I guess, but one of the things that I wanted to change about it was I wanted to make it to where it had a little bit more visual importance, because mainly the thing that I want to use the explosive crates for, obviously you can, place them around the level and then shoot them and it'll blow up and kill enemies nearby. But the main thing I want to use it for, and really I already have a use for it, is using them to blow open destructible walls. And so I think I wanted to have a little bit more visual importance, so I needed to take up a little bit more space and to be actually modeled out. So we've got that working now. Normal crates, they were originally using a static mesh that was just a cube, really easy. But I had a crate texture that would only work at a specific size, and that I didn't really like that I had to have the crate always at the same size. So, you want the crates to be scalable. So I made it to where now they're still modeled out, but they're modeled out with sprites. And so that means that sprites can be resized very easily. So that means I can scale the boxes however I want, which would be good for things like platforming and just, general level design too. Next up, we got an Easter egg system in the game, which is really, really simple. It's just coding that I've already done, but applied to a different blueprint. So now you'll be able to see something, interact with it, and get a sound cue from it. So it's basically just like how in other games you would, like Blood, if you would interact with a sink or something, then Caleb would have a comment for it. Things like that. And then started work on a bug enemy. I originally wanted to just have something like a rat or a snake or something, but I didn't exactly like the snake sprite that I worked on, and just decided to silhouette out a flying bug enemy, and it wound up being kind of kind of a nightmare looking thing. So I liked the silhouette so much that I decided I was going to run with that. I'm going to try to make them not too obnoxious. They're actually really, really big. they're country bugs, so they're pretty huge. So hopefully being able to target them won't be difficult for the player. And I'm planning on having them be just about one-shottable by anything. So they'll just be a little harassment kind of enemy. So nothing too major, but enemy sprites do take a little bit to make. This one is fairly simple at the very least. So hopefully this won't take me too long. Normally with like a human enemy, that takes me about a week to get all the sprites done for that. But this bug, I'm hoping maybe just like 2 or 3 days. It could even just be shorter than that if I really work like crazy and the bug's silhouette winds up just working out and being really easy to do a rotate with. Because you have to make sprites from... I'm doing 8 direction sprites, so you need every single action that it can take, like, flapping its wings and attacking. You need to have those sprites done for 8 different directions. So, it's going to be... It's a bit of work, but fortunately this bug is symmetrical, so that'll make it a lot easier. I technically only have to do 4 directions if it's going to be symmetrical, so I can skip out on a little bit of work there. So hopefully the bug will be quick. All right, and welcome back to the Unreal Editor here. We don't really need to show a map, so we're just on the default map here. We are interested in is the enemy behavior tree, or one of them anyway. So the enemy getting stuck issue that I mentioned before. I could tell when I spawned one enemy into a map and had the behavior tree up that the behavior tree was getting stuck on this T reposition. So I went looking into the code here, and if we look at the reposition code, then event execute or event receive execute AI, that's basically just saying that when the AI is told to execute this, then that's the starting event. And then you have the finishing event, which is finish execute, which is saying, okay, it's done, so leave this code and then move on to whatever else the AI behavior tree calls to do. So we look through here, we've got a 30% chance for this branch to show true, which would mean that it would reposition. So it's a chance-based reposition in this case. It's not always in other cases, but I could tell from similar code that this should have worked. And when the weird thing was that it was sometimes working. So sometimes it would work just fine, but they would almost always get stuck eventually. So looking through, I put in a lot of redundancies to make sure that it should work. and spent about a day and a half trying to figure out why the enemy was getting stuck on this code in particular, because similar code that I had made was working just fine, and I had no idea what the issue was. And sadly, I wish I could say it was some complex issue that I had to really do some galaxy brain thinking to figure out. But unfortunately, with coding, and anyone here who has done programming before will know, your biggest issues that you just can't figure out are usually something really small and stupid. And unfortunately, that was the case here. Well, fortunately, maybe, because that means I didn't have to do much fixing. But issue was right here. So, ordinarily, a branch leading into a blank node is just fine, because it means it just does nothing. So it does nothing, and then that bit of code is done. Except AI trees, they need to be told that they are done. Otherwise, it will just sit in the code forever. And what I did not do was plug the false node into finish execute. So it actually was just getting completely stuck in the code. It was being told to do nothing, but it was never being told that it was done. So I plugged that in, and all of a sudden it works flawlessly. So, learning experience to always double check your branch calls in your AI executions. So got that fixed, and now the AI is working just as it should. And that's it for this update. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Make sure you follow the company Twitter account, Armadillo Entertainment, so that you can get daily updates on how the game is going. I will see you guys next week. Thanks, everyone.